It is the Fatboy Show on your number one station, RX Radio, broadcasting from the capital of Uganda, a city known as Kampala. Oh, yeah. But we love Uganda. Uganda is an interesting country. There's plenty to like, but also plenty to hate.
Oh, you
and
had
the thing
to put that in.
Hate the most about Uganda is, of course, its politics. It's just not pretty.
Oh, yeah.
Do you see anything good without politics?
But is there a country that has good politics? Really? I mean, do you want to say Russia? Is there a democracy in that country?
Not really. Okay, so politics is dirty everywhere.
It's dirty. It's a dirty game.
Well, it is so dirty, especially in Uganda, that the leader of opposition, Mathias Mpuuga, is offering to resign from the position of leader of opposition. And even his parliamentary seat is willing to relinquish it should anyone bring evidence of his alleged involvement in any negotiations with the President Museveni, regarding the release of MPs Allan, Ssewanyana and Ssegirinya. Now, the two MPs who have been on remand at Kigo prison since September of 2021, they were granted bail last week by Justice Lawrence Tweyanze. And since then, Mpuuga has been on the spot over his alleged involvement in negotiations for their release. And so he also is claiming to have nothing to do with it. Remember that on the Friday show, we were talking about Bobby Wine also denying any involvement.
Yes.
Why doesn't anyone want to touch this with a 10-foot pole?
I told you, no one wants to touch this because, as Mpuuga said when he was being hosted by another radio station, he said negotiating means that negotiations are usually a give and take. I have to give you something so that you give me something. So if you say that the leader of opposition negotiated for the members of parliament to be released, it means that he was willing to compromise on something.
But that, I think, shouldn't it be understood by people that compromise is part of multi-party politics? Like if you have a multi-party system, like even America, that just has really two major parties.
Yes.
Represented in their Congress, they make deals. You sit down with someone and say, okay, I need so and so many votes to get this bill passed. So do you think you and a few of your colleagues can support me on this one? And if you do, I can promise that me and my friends can support you on the other one. Now, it may not be a bill I personally support, and even many of my constituents may be against it, but by pledging my support, by asking for their support for my bill,
they owe you one.
It's a trade.
Yes.
And if you, because otherwise, if you don't do that, you end up with permanent gridlock. Nothing moves. Nothing gets passed.
I hear you on that.
You have to compromise.
You are comparing a fairly democratic country with ours. In our country, if you're going to make a deal with the government, it's about becoming less vocal. It's about not putting the needs of your party or the opposition that you're leading forward. I'll give you an example, a very simple example. Do you think that Mao, as the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, is still carrying the needs of the opposition as minister who is serving in the government of the incumbent president? Do you really think that?
Considering he is the one person that's, I don't know if he's claimed credit since the release, but I know that before he had said that he was working on it.
He said he was working on it. And what we have seen in the past is that every time someone from the opposition has been given, let's say, a post of a minister, has been given any sort of grace by the government, those people turn. There is the late Area Kategaya who went to FDC and then came back to the NRM. As in, you cannot compromise in our politics. There is negotiating and say, you know what, let's give these guys, their time out. Let's release them. But what are you going to give them? What? Is it money that they are giving you? What are you going to give them?
Well, let me ask you this. If it means they're going to be released, isn't that a worthy cause?
No, releasing them.
Like if the price you feel you're going to pay is to risk being the object of suspicion by your supporters,
you might as well
but
just do it.
But if the end result is you're procuring the freedom of these politicians, it seems like a price that's well worth it to pay.
Is it really worth Is the price worth it? Because if you're Bobby Wine, for instance, and you're the president of the leading opposition party in the land, and it comes out that you had, behind closed doors meetings with the president, who is your quote unquote sworn enemy, trying to get your members out, you definitely have to tell the public what you gave. It's a viable question. Okay, fine, they're out. So what did you give? What did you do? And this is why Mpuuga and Bobby Wine are on the spot, because there is no way you're going to play in the mud with a pig. Not that people in NRM are pigs and you don't get dirty.
But it is indeed a dirty game, this thing called politics. Well, for now, though, I mean, I personally am glad that they were able to obtain bail, these two MPs.
Yes.
And hopefully, as the Chief Justice promised, there'll be a speedy trial. And the likely outcome is their exoneration.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess time will be the judge of that.
Yes, time will be the judge of that.